Welcome back. Let's dive right in. So, if you've been having belly fat for years on end, it's not because you're lazy, but basically your lifestyle keeps reinforcing it. But once you actually understand this, this is when fat loss actually becomes easier and not so much confusing. So, most men think when it comes to belly fat, right? They think that it's about the cardio, the calories, and just some new diet. But if that was the case, then it wouldn't stay on you for years and you probably wouldn't have clicked on this video. The actual reason is because you're doing a behavior over and over again and just expecting your body to just magically change. So in this video, I'm basically going to be breaking down in terms of why belly fat sticks around for years for most men and how you can fix that. Well, the actual truth that no one really wants to hear when it comes to belly fat is it's not about your diet, really. It's basically your overall lifestyle. It's not from eating bad for a bad weekend. It's just consistently over months and years doing the same, adapting the same bad habits when it comes to eating on a regular basis. And with that, your body's just gonna adjust to that. So if you're eating clean, but then you're having cookies and pizza in between, all that for months and years, your body's just going to adapt to that diet. This is where people get a little skinny fat. So your body is always going to adjust to whatever you give it. Your body's always going to adjust to whatever you give it for a period of time. So I want to go over in terms of the first reason why most men get stuck with belly fat for years. And that's simply the case of the weekend. You know, funny, I had a teammate when I was in a men's league, and we joined an indoor league, and he was an older individual of mine. But I remember asking him in terms of like, oh, like, are you gonna stay around with the guys in terms of like upstairs and stuff? And he's like, nah, like, I enjoy this for the weekend, but most of the time, this is where if I go upstairs with these dudes drinking and stuff like that, this is where diets go to shit. And it's so true, guys. Like, you know, keep in mind that these games are during the weekend. But I think overall, the weekend is where diets go to shit for most people. So you can have a good week in terms of Monday through Friday. You know, you eat clean, you're disciplined, and all that. And then what do most people do when it comes to Friday, maybe, or Saturday, Sunday? Friday, step out, eat like shit. Saturday, step out again, eat like shit, drained. And then comes around Sunday, eat like shit again. And then what's the magic thing that everyone tells themselves? Everything will reset once Monday comes back around, and they go in this pattern and loop for years on end, expecting different results within their physique. So you can be in a deficit, but the key factor in that is you're not in a deficit long enough. So Monday through Friday isn't going to cut it. You have to go all the way through, Monday through Sunday, all the way through. And then guess what you have to do after that? You have to do it again, because your body's not going to care about you doing 4 good days. It's only gonna respond to consistent effort within your diet on an everyday basis for months and years, every time, without fail. Now let's go over in terms of the second reason why most men stay stuck with their belly fat for years on end, and that's simply no structure. You know, people want to train whenever they want, people want to sleep whenever they want, and people want to eat whenever they want, right? This is a common thing that I see, especially when it comes to when I sign on people in terms of my coaching services. And if you're someone who's interested, there'll be a link down below. But going back to my point, this is a common thing that I see, especially with past clients and even new clients, right? It's always when I figure out in terms of what times they eat, what they eat throughout the day, it's all randomized. And the thing with that is, if all those 3 things are random, guess what's going to happen? Your results are going to be just as random. So there's no proof, there's no set structure to understand what goes on throughout the week. And if that's the case, there's no way you can capitalize in terms of actually controlling change within your body. And like I always preach, man, you can't out-train a bad diet. You can never out-train a bad diet. I don't care what you do. And this is another cycle that people get caught up in years. You see it all the time. You know, the guy in your current gym right now who's been going probably for years and nothing's changed, that's the loop that they're in. Everything being randomized, training so hard, but then not realizing that the diet and possibly their sleep is being affected towards actually getting the result that they actually want. Now let's go over to my third reason. Now the third reason, basically what I mentioned right before, sleep. Sleep, the most underrated factor when it comes to fat loss. You know, if your sleep is shit and your stress is high, your cortisols always are gonna remain high. You know, and with that, you're you're not optimizing your recovery. You're not optimizing your recovery. Your fat loss actually slows down, and with that, what's the source you rely on? Caffeine. And at that point, with caffeine, while on top of that, running on 5 hours of sleep, then comes willpower. And but the thing with willpower is like how much willpower do you have running on low sleep? You can see it even in patterns when it comes to work. Imagine not getting your sleep and then you're trying to have your body cooperate with that on a day-to-day basis. Then you start to really understand, oh shit, like this is a very underrated thing, but it's sleep, man. You need at least 6, 7, hopefully 8 hours of sleep because it's so important, man. It's so important, especially when it comes to fat loss. So doing that cycle over and over, your belly's gonna remain being fat. So going to my fourth reason that will calibrate to that is your training's shit. Your training actually becomes shit because you have no recovery from less sleep, and it affects your training big time. You know, and what people will do in this state, in this kind of what people will resort to, especially when it comes to fat loss, is they'll do too much cardio and not focus on resistance training. So when we have to understand that yes, the cardio is going to burn calories, but the calories ain't gonna fix your metabolism. The resistance training will, you know, because we're actually training to keep our muscle while burn fat, which is the main focus, not calories. We want to reduce fat. So if we're simply not resistance training and progressive overloading, your body has no reason to burn fat. That's simply the case. It has no reason to. So when it comes down to why most men have belly fat for years on end, it's simply because people are trying to lose fat, but not live like not live like they're trying to be lean, not live like they're trying to actually have fat loss. And that all comes through identity. Your identity hasn't been shifted because you're not doing what's required for you to be lean like other men who are. Especially around this time in New Year's, guys. The diet's temporary. People probably already gave up right now, and it's already 5 days in. The diet's temporary. The training's temporary. This is where people get on, oh, let me lock in. 2 months, I'm locking in. But what about month 3, 4, 5, 6? Motherfuckers drop off. And then guess what happens? They start picking it back up again. And then guess what happens after that? They fall off, pick it back up last month before the year ends, and then saying the same shit like new year, new me, and come up with these resolutions. But the guys, you have to understand, man, going back to the identity shit, think of the definition of insanity, doing the same shit over and over, expecting different results. That's all it is. That's what it sounds. It's just insanity. The same shit over and over and ending up in the same exact place, and you're wondering why. That's just the truth. And it's simply understanding that fat loss is a lifestyle change. It's not when motivation's high. It's not going to happen every Monday you tell yourself it's going to happen. It's an everyday thing. It's a whole lifestyle change. But it comes with identity shift. But that's when you truly realize it, guys. when you realize that it's a lifestyle change and you need to become the person that actually sticks to their diet, who actually trains on a consistent basis, who makes sure they prioritize their sleep. That's what it comes down to. So what you can do starting today to actually stop having belly fat stick around for years on end. So first thing, stop blowing off everything off the weekend. You know, let's do Monday through Sunday. 2, start consistently lifting. Consistently, even if it's 3 days, start there. I highly recommend starting at 3 days. 3, walk more than you actually think. Walk more than you think you are. 4, make sure your sleep is dialed in and treat that shit seriously. Treat that shit seriously because that's a major factor that people sleep on. And most importantly, number 5, bro, stop restarting every fucking Monday. You don't need is this gonna be like after this video? Is it gonna be perfect? No. But what do we want to shoot for? Consistency. So if you can apply this each and every week, you'll be in a lot better place in terms of your fat loss than you already are. So to wrap up this video, man, belly fat only stays on men for years because you simply don't understand that it's a lifestyle change. And once you can commit to that, things will be a lot better, man. So I'm telling you, bro, fat loss becomes way easier once your life supports it. So once you prioritize it in your life and make it known and identify with that on a consistent basis, trust and believe that fat ain't gonna stay too long. But that's all for today's video, man. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below where you are in terms of your process when it comes to fitness, bro. And that's about it, man. But I'm out of here. See you in the next one. Peace.